In the early days of Star Rail, almost every patch introduced new 4-star character. They filled the team roles, gave free-to-play players more options, and helped expand the roster quickly. Characters like Chingyung, Pella, and recently Galhager weren't just budget options, they were the backbone of our teams, performing much better than many 5-star options. But if we look at recent updates, something's changed. New 4-star characters are becoming extremely rare. It has been over 500 days since the last brand new 4-star character joined the roster. So the question is simple. Why Honkai Star Rail stopped making 4 stars? Why? When HSR first launched, it needed many characters quickly. The roster was relatively small. The developers needed to fill different combat roles quickly: DPS, support, healers, and utility characters. This is where many early 4 stars appeared. When Zilla was the strongest meta DPS, 4-star options like Jingyum, Pala, and Asta rose to the top. These 4 stars were so strong that they stood meta for longer than many 5-star alternatives. Gacha games are meant to generate revenue. They are not running a company for just some people's entertainment. 5-star characters are the ones which drive revenue in HSR. But then a problem starts arising when 4 stars become too overpowered. For example, when Akron came out, she synergized so amazingly with Pella, and everyone totally ignores Silver Wolf. Even though she was a 4-star character, she surpassed Silver Wolf in every other comparison. Not to mention, her idolins were easy to unlock. Tingyung, on the other hand, was providing 60% energy regeneration, which was insane. Hoyo had to change the ultimate mechanic just because of this soul ability. Major DPS in Penacony like Acheron, Fei Xiao had different ult mechanic just because Tingyung's energy regeneration was insanely high. And then came out Galhager. He was the biggest disaster for Hoyo. Galhager was such a strong sustain and synergized amazingly with both Acheron and Firefly. This led people not to spend on Aventurine and Lingsha, the 5-star alternatives, and best in slot for the desired DPS, Acheron and Firefly. Now, from a business point of view, just think about it. It takes a lot of time, money, and effort to design a 5-star character. Every new character requires animation, voice acting, balance testing, story integration. After all this, for 5-star, they also work on story relevance, flashy abilities, big cinematic trailers, and when the times comes out, a 4-star alternate which came 5 versions ago drives their entire sales away. If 4 stars are too weak, they are dead on arrival, like Misha Links. If they are too strong, they cannibalize the 5-star sales. Assigning a character a 4-star rarity often signals to players that they are lesser in the lore. To avoid community backlash, people were not happy seeing Muse coming out as a 4-star, whereas Joukyo became 5-star. HoYoverse now defaults lore critical characters to 5-star status to match their narrative weight. Starting with version 3.0, the story shifted toward the Quasos heroes and demigods. Unlike Genshin Impact, HSR's smaller room-based exploration means there are fewer side characters who feel substantial enough to be playable 4-star but not important enough for 5 stars. Every single Quasos here has their own fanbase, and it was not possible to make any of them as 4-star. Though Savidra should have been a 4-star. One question which always comes to the mind is, do we even need 4-star characters? HSR is a turn-based game, and you cannot use more than 4 characters in one team. Even though game modes like Anomaly Attribution allows you to hold 3 different teams, the question still remains the same: do we actually need 4 stars in Star Rail? Every team has its own main DPS, which is definitely a 5-star characters, and anyone who has played the game for over a year hold at least 2 complete 5-star teams. 4-star act as supports or sustain. Main DPS and their main buffers are always 5-star characters. But 5-star sustains are so limited and strong that they never go out of meta. Like, HoYoverse was released back in 2023 and she is still meta relevant sustain. This overall removes the need of 4-star characters entirely, but even despite all of this, there's one big reason. When it comes to rewards, no one can beat HSR. They provide so many 5-star characters for free. For example, you got Archer, a very strong main DPS, Ruin May, one of the most powerful premium buffer, DHPT, a super strong meta relevant sustain entirely for free, and in 4.0 you get to choose from a huge list of strong characters as well. Above all that, old 5-star characters are being buffed and many are being added on 50/50 catch a loose banner, along with premium ones going in stellar conversions. With so many amazing rewards, why would someone even use a 4-star character? Anyone with a good option to choose between a 4-star or 5-star would always choose 5-star, because they add more visual and animation to the game. In a nutshell, Honkai Star Rail hasn't stopped making 4-star. Instead, they have removed their need entirely. Early in the game's life, 4-stars were essential for building the roster quickly, but as the meta evolved and the character pool expanded, the focus shifted towards more complex premium units. Whether this trend continues will depend on how the developers want the game to grow.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand.